It's me, it's Queen Set Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Alright guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who may be wondering about this same issue. I wanted to talk about something that people ask me all the time. I get a lot of single people. I get a lot of people who are in bad relationships. And I get a lot of people who have sworn off of relationships. A lot of them, when I'm doing readings, ask me the same question. And I wanted to talk about this question. They often ask me, other than just vibrationally speaking, because that's a good percentage of this. Other than just vibrationally speaking, why do so many people end up in bad relationships? Now, the vibrational part of it is that you attract a certain kind of person based on how you are vibrating. So if you're vibrating in a certain kind of way, you may always attract codependent people. If you're vibrating in another kind of way, you might always attract deceptive people. If you're vibrating in a different kind of way, you might always attract people with addictions. You might vibrate in a kind of way that you attract all of those things to people who are your suitors. So that is true. That's vibrationally speaking. But there's also some other things that go along with this. Because, yeah, you've attracted this person, but why did you let them into your life? What you attract and what you keep in your life are two different things. Just because you attract messed up people doesn't mean you have to keep messed up people. And I've come to find that these reasons that I'm going to give today are the reasons why a lot of people end up staying in these bad relationships after they've drawn this person. I think it's because we have a tendency to pick our suitors for superficial reasons. And I've listed the reasons that are commonly repeated to me. And these are really a large part of the culprit. Number one, a lot of people pick their suitors based on how they look. So you've attracted this person and they're drop dead gorgeous. So immediately you're excited, because I know I'm excited when I meet a woman that's drop dead gorgeous. I'm like, whoa, So of course you're excited, but choosing to be with that person or not based on how good they look is a big mistake. Because just because somebody looks good for you doesn't mean they are good for you. We've learned this lesson time and time again about a book and its cover. How many times have you picked up a book that had an amazing graphic design on it and then looked inside the book and the storyline, the plot, whatever, the writing wasn't that good? Likewise, how many times have you picked up an amazing book and it has the plainest cover you've ever seen? One of my favorite books is Bram Stoker's Dracula. And the version that I had of it was just a plain cover. But one of my favorite books is inside of it. So you can't judge a person by their looks. And a lot of us do. We see something and like, ooh, we go into that lust mode and then we go after it, forgetting everything else. And then once you're in lust mode and you're having sex, you start letting shit slide. And the next thing you know, you're in a relationship with somebody who you should not be with. This one happens the most. That's why I brought it up first. The second one, you fall in love with or, attached to, gain an attachment to their representative self. When you first meet somebody, and this is why I tell people to take their time. When you first meet somebody, you meet who I call their representative. This is the best of that person. They look their best, they smell their best, they speak their best. They are at their best when you first meet them, usually. They're at their absolute best. They're on their best behavior. And I call that their representative self. But you cannot get into a relationship with the person's representative self. You got to fall back and get to know them. You got to see their ugly self. You got to see their cranky self. You've got to see their sad self. You've got to see the other parts of them. You have to see the whole person. A lot of times I've fallen in love with somebody's representative self. I fall in love with the best of them, the potential in them. That's very Aquarius, by the way. And then as I get to know them, all the other selves pop up and I'm like, whoa, who are these people? Some of the times that will kill the whole situation. You have to wait a while. You got to take your time. You don't always know everything about a person quickly. A lot of people are not very transparent. Some people hide and pretend very well. You have to take your time and see what's underneath the surface. The next one, money. Some people pick their lovers because they got money. Because they either are very generous with their money, or because they're like, okay, this person's good with money. They're gonna be all right, Some people pick people based on what they have as far as money or assets. They have a nice house, they have a nice car, they have nice clothes, but you can't base anything on how much money and assets this person has accumulated. This person can be an awful person, but have a good sense of money, good sense of budgeting. They could have been broke up until last week and their significant other died and left them millions. So just because a person has money and assets doesn't mean they're a good person, or a person that you should be with. So many times I've heard a man or a woman say, I'm with this person because they have money. I've heard that a lot. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, that's not a good reason to be with somebody. Not to say that you should be with somebody that's broke, but if that's the only reason you're with them, you may come to find that that's all they have to offer. And money is good. I like money. But in a relationship, if that's all you have to offer, you may find yourself miserable rather quickly. You'll spend the money, you'll enjoy the trips, but you got to spend time with the person. They're not just going to give you the money and not spend time with you. They're going to want sex with you. They're going to want time with you. And if all you like them for is their money, all that time is going to be like torture. Trust me, I've been there. I have been there. So you don't want to be in that situation. They have to have money and other things, a good job, a good head on their shoulders, good values, good goals, not just, okay, they have a great bank account. That's never going to sustain a relationship. Sex. Some people get with another person because they love having sex with them. The sex is just so amazing. It's the best sex they ever had. They just love the chemistry with their sex. I've seen this debacle a lot. Sex is not a good reason to get into a relationship with someone. That's why a lot of people who start their relationship immediately having sex end up later on in bad relationships with that person or not talking to that person at all. Because the sex itself, again, is not enough to maintain a relationship. Just because somebody's good in bed doesn't mean they're a good person. Just because somebody's good in bed doesn't mean they know how to take care of a home, or they have goals, or they have shared values with you. And a lot of people become blinded by passion. That's why I always tell people not to have sex quickly, to get to know them platonically, at least 90 days. I would say go longer than that if you can, but at least that, so you can see, do they have anything to offer besides just sex? A lot of people, that's all they got. A lot of people, all they have is a good sex game. That's it. They got no conversation, they have no interesting hobbies. They are just great in bed. And for some people, that's enough. But it's never enough long term. It might be enough, if you're in a certain phase of your life, if you're in a certain emotional phase, or if you're going through a dry spell, or if you're a sexual being and you're not seeing anybody. But sex is not enough of a reason to be in a relationship with someone. Generally, those relationships end up badly. And last, feelings. Some people get with somebody because of their feelings. Either the other person has feelings for them and they don't want to hurt their feelings, or they have feelings for the other person, but the other person really isn't returning those feelings. So getting into a relationship with someone because you have feelings for them or because you don't want to hurt their feelings is not good either. You have to get into a relationship with someone who they do have to be attractive. When I talked about looks, you do have to be attracted to this person. I would never get with somebody I'm not attracted to. But it has to be more than just their looks, their representative, their money, their sex, and their feelings. There has to be shared goals between the two of you. This person has to have values that you don't mind in your life. Remember, you're blending your life with this person. So if this person is going to come into your life, what if you guys decide to have a child, for example? Do you want this person teaching their values and goals to your child? A lot of people I know are going through this right now because they had friends with benefits, they ended up pregnant and kept the baby. Then they find out that their friend with benefits is not too cool, male and female. So some of these gentlemen are like, now this woman has my baby and she not what I thought she was or what I hoped she was. And I'm like, well, what did you hope she was? All you were doing was having sex with her. You didn't know her values. You didn't know her goals. You didn't know what she was. And now she's pregnant and she's going to be passing on those dysfunctional things to your child, for women and men, vice versa. So my thing is that before you pick a suitor, before you pick a committed relationship, a person to really be with, that you think about your criteria for picking your suitors. And if these are the reasons you have, they're good to start with, but you need more substantial reasons. You need to know their goals. You need to know their values. You need to know what they want to achieve. You want to know what kind of things they expect to do if they do have children. You want to know what kind of friends and what kind of company they keep. All of these kind of things are important because they're blending themselves in your life. You want to know what kind of soul they have. What kind of spirit does this person have? Do you really want somebody who's negative or pessimistic or low vibrational in your bed every day? You have to think about things other than just the things that I talked about. Those things are important, and I do look for a person who's attractive. I would never be with a person who's not attractive. I do like their representative self. I do need someone who has a good career and a good money sense because we're going to be buying things, and I want to make sure that we can budget. I want to go broke with this person. I want somebody I have great sex with, and I have feelings and attraction, attachment, emotional attachment, I'll call it too. Those things are important, but they're not enough. And if you stop there, you'll end up in a lot of times with somebody you end up having to leave. And that's why the people who are coming to me talking about their relationships have broken up, they've sworn off relationships, or whatever the case is. A lot of them pick them with one or some of these things only in mind. So I'm not saying stop thinking about these things. I'm saying add some more substantial things to your list. Because at the end of the day, this is not enough. Okay? All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So if you would like to get a reading, please email me and I will give you an appointment. If you want to become one of my patrons on Patreon, please check out my Patreon link underneath this video. Everything you need to know to contact me will be underneath this video as well. And everything you need to know to send me a gift will be under this video as well. And come back soon because I have a lot more to say. See you later.